Hi guys, so I'm right at the farm. You can see my farmhouse in the background and my beautiful area right here. This is a beautiful space that I built up recently, I adapted recently. You can see the very beautiful tires. So I've been painting tires in the compound. Now this whole area before I used to use it to plant maize. Yeah. So I thought that by planting maize in all around the farm, in the areas where I don't do anything, I can actually bring down on my food cost. But I later found out something that I'm going to be talking about in the video. So I decided to get tires. You guys can see, beautiful, nice tires right there that I decided to paint. And I'm going to use them as flower vases. So I've been hanging them up on the trees. I'm probably going to raise them to different heights. They just don't look as nice when they're on the same height. Take a look at that. Yeah, so I think they look nicer. I'll probably raise the red one on that one just so they look nice. You can see all this. So I've been painting them myself. And so before, I was planting maize all around this area. This is about half an acre, well, inclusive of the house. And before, of course, this shed wasn't here. So even here I was planting. But I actually noticed that I don't benefit so much from the maize right here. What would happen is that I would plant all this maize, and at the end of the season, when I do the math, oh my God, it's like I just wasted my time. When I consider how much I got out of it and how much I planted and everything, the math just didn't add up. Yeah. So I feel like this only makes sense when you're planting a really big area. Then the labor costs come down much more compared to like planting a small area. In addition to that, I don't know, I just don't know. I just don't get it. The people who do plant maize and actually find proper profit out of it, please let me know in the comment section below. How do you do it? Yeah, because for me, it just failed to make sense. Completely failed to make sense. I'll occasionally see my neighbors, even right around here, consistently trying to grow food. I mean, they grow maize, they grow beans and all these things. And for me, it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, I understand. On a subsistence scale, where your own labor, yeah, so it's not like you're hiring someone else to grow for you anything. It certainly does make sense. You just choose the seed, which is probably the harvest from the last season, to plant in the ground. Then you're going to be your own labor, and then you have your land, and then whatever you get out, you're going to be consuming for your own self. I think it does make sense. But on the larger scale on which I actually do it, it just never makes financial sense. Every time I do the maths, it just doesn't make sense. So for me, I feel like it makes way more sense to try and save and bring down these costs using another mechanism, using another method, which is what I'm going to be telling you guys about today, because in the next week or so, I'm going to be changing the way I've been making my feed completely, flipping it around and transforming it. Yeah. And the main reason is because the scale of the farm has completely changed. Yeah, the dynamics I was working under earlier on are completely different. Yeah, and you're going to move in. So if you guys can see in the background there, you can see that I now have 4 chicken houses. Yeah, and a 5th one, which is on my dad's land, the place that I started out with. And what that means is that that's about 12,000 chickens. Okay, so let's get into the feed store. So when we get into our feed store, so this is our feed store, as you can see it. This is our feed. We have some of it on the floor. So the guys mix it using shovels. You can see the shovels. It's a beautiful morning, meanwhile, very cloudy. It's not sunny. It's cool. Very nice. Yeah. This is maize bran that we are using. So, we keep pouring it down to make sure that, the heat escapes and it doesn't get spoiled. And all this is maize. So this is about 10 tons of maize that we do have right here. And this is limestone. And this is a concentrate. Yeah. So I've been using a concentrate, for as far back as I imagine, on this commercial layer farm. I do remember the very first time I used this concentrate, I was having a really bad time with the farm. Yeah, at that time. The farm wasn't making money. I was using a premix that I was getting from Kampala, and that is the city, so I would have to transport it so many kilometers away. I honestly didn't know that this concentrate was even very available close to me. And then someone introduced it to me, and I actually started out using it. And it has, worked nicely for me. It's not like I'm marketing for them or advertising, but well, it has done things for me. And yeah, why not? So the idea of a concentrate is, there are different types of concentrate, but most concentrates that I do know, which people use for both layers and broilers, are made in such a way that a lot of them just have mainly the protein and the minerals. So you have to only add the energy sources. So for me, in addition to the concentrate while giving the chickens, I have to add, you know, the maize that you guys have just seen, the maize bran that I've shown you guys around, then the limestone. Yeah, so I have two different types of limestone. I have the powder and the grit. Yeah, those are the two other things that I have to add into the feed for me to utilize it really well. But still, because the company that makes the concentrate needs to make some profit, of course, they add soybean to the concentrate, and of course they're not going to give it to you at the very best price. Now what that means is that it brings the cost of the feed a little bit up, but you know, it is trusted. A while back I tried to, you know, use a premix around here, and so I would source my, you know, soya meal and, you know, sunflower from around, and for some reason the things just wouldn't work out. Every time I would mix the feed just wouldn't perform. It just wouldn't perform. So you can see the concentrate right here. It's called cow dyes. Again, I'm not marketing for them, but it has done me well for quite a number of years. But I think its time has come to an end. Yeah. So this is a broiler concentrate. So because I do have young chicks around, you know, the baby chicks, I feed them on broiler feed. Yeah. So they are layers, but they're in their first few weeks of life. So we actually feed them on broiler concentrate until they're about 10 weeks of age. And then after that, we switch to the layer concentrate. But honestly, there's no big difference. It's just about the protein availability and the minerals that's available there, yeah, that the chicks need. Now, there's one thing that's going to be very involved in the changing dynamics of the farm is actually this machine, guys, yeah. So I recently bought this machine, which is actually a hammer mill. Yeah, it's a hammer mill. It's quite crazy how small it is, but how expensive it is. I think it was like, what, $3,000? Well, a little bit less than that, maybe 2,000 something dollars, yeah, to get this, yeah. It's a hammer mill. It's from a company called Riela over here in Uganda, yeah. Very nicely made, very, very nicely made. You can see that they punched their name right here through the metal, and the material that actually makes the hammer itself, the hammer mill, is quite thick. Yeah, so it's stainless steel, as you can see, and it's really, really thick. It's very nice and big and beautiful. Yeah, and it runs with a motor, as you can see, and it's simply a plug and play. Yeah, so it just has a plug where you just, you know, plug it into electricity, and then it starts to run. Yeah, so we're going to have to place it around here. So we're going to have to do some modifications around the store, you know, take a lot of this chaos which is around here and find somewhere else to place it so that we can get space to place our hammer mill right here and it starts working. Yeah. Now, the biggest problem we actually had is that, you see this cable? This is a 2.5 millimeter cable that, you see, where is it? Can you see? Yeah, 2.5, yeah. 2.5 millimeters, yeah. So it's what supplies electricity into this socket, and when we tried to run the machine in it, I mean, it's like the cable was just going to burn. It got so hot. That just means that the motor draws too much power, way more than the cable and whatever system can handle. So because of that, I have this cable. It's I think it's like a 4 millimeter cable. It's much thicker. Certain, yeah. As you can see, yeah, it's much thicker. So it's what we're going to be using. So we're going to be using it to tap electricity directly from that house. You guys can see. So we're going to get, you know, electricity, because that's why we have our main socket that supplies from the, you know, from the pole, and then we'll bring it over to the house here, and then we'll place the mill somewhere around here, and then we'll start milling our maize. So that means that, number one, we're not going to be paying for milling of maize anymore, but also we're going to utilize it for milling sunflower cake and soya cake, because that's what I'm going to be mixing in the new concentrate that I'm going to use. So I'm now going to be getting a new premix. It's not really a concentrate, it's a premix, yeah? So as you can see, this is a 20% concentrate, yeah? I'm going to get a 5% concentrate, which ideally is a premix, yeah? And that's going to bring my costs significantly much lower, like significantly, very significantly. With the current capacity of birds or the current capacity of feed that I'm making, it's going to mean that I get to save about maybe $1,700 every month Can you imagine how much money that is? $1,700 saved every month with the new, mixing ratio. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, why the hell didn't you start doing this earlier? If you could have been saving this much money, why didn't you start doing it earlier? And the main reason is because of the scale on which the farm was, running. I didn't have too many birds and I didn't need to make too much feed. I have to transport the soya meal and the sunflower meal or the cake from quite far away. Yeah, it's a long distance away. It's about, I think it's up to 200 kilometers away. A really long distance away. Yeah, and what that means is that transporting small quantities of the feed would have been just too expensive for me. But now that the farm is getting bigger, I have 12,000 chickens, and very soon I'm going to be expanding. Hopefully by the end of the year we might be like at 20,000 chickens. Because of that, then I'm certainly at the point where I have the scale to be able to actually transport these raw materials from really far away and bring them to me right here. Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing. That's what I'm going to start doing very soon. And it's going to bring my feeding cost much, much lower, and I'm going to save way more money. Can you think of all the things you can actually do with $1,600 extra, $1,700 extra every month? Oh my God, a lot. And a lot of things, yeah, and that's going to be extra money that I do have available to me, and that's going to enable me, scale up the farm and do way more, yeah, and that way I'm going to save even much more. Of course, the other thing that I'm certainly going to need to do is to expand the store, yeah, that we do have right there. We're going to have to build a bigger store, and that will ensure that we can store, way more raw materials and things like that. But I'm really excited about it, really excited. So tell me what you think about it. If you're someone who is interested in starting and growing a poultry farm just like I did, you want to scale up, you want all these tricks that I've personally utilized from the time I started, the Farm Up Academy is the thing for you. I'll leave a link to the Farm Up Academy below. You can just go and check it out, read about it. All the information is right there, and then you can join and see you on the other side. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell. That way you never miss out on an upload. Catch you very soon with another video. Lots of love. Bye-bye.